In this video we are going to learn English with the story of Puss in Boots. What next story would you like to see on this channel? Leave your suggestion in the comments. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a young miller who worked hard to make ends meet. After his father's death, he only inherited an old mill, a donkey and a pet cat. The young man, named Peter, was discouraged by his lot and thought he would never be able to improve his situation. However, Pedro's cat was a very special cat. He was smart, cunning and dreamed of helping his owner to have a better life. One day, the cat decided to reveal his plan to Pedro. He said, "Master, don't worry about your limited inheritance. I have a plan that will make us rich and famous." The cat explained that he was going to impersonate a normal cat, but with one small difference: he would be wearing fancy boots. He believed that with his charming appearance and intelligence, he could convince people that Peter was a powerful nobleman. Peter was intrigued and agreed to go along with his cat's plan. So Puss in Boots set out on a journey. First, he went to a farmer and asked him to borrow a pair of boots. With the boots, the cat became Puss in Boots. Then he went to a field where there were many rabbits and other wild animals. With his wit, the cat attracted the attention of the rabbits and deceived them by telling them that the king had decreed that all fields belonged to Peter, the young nobleman. The rabbits, believing Pedro to be someone powerful, handed the cat a basket full of rabbits for the noble Pedro. The cat took the basket of rabbits to the royal palace and asked to see the king. When he entered the palace, Puss in Boots told the king that Peter was a wealthy nobleman who owned fields full of rabbits. The king was impressed and invited Peter and the cat to a royal dinner. During dinner, Puss in Boots continued to impress the king with his skills. He caught a mouse that was running around the hall and handed it to the king, saying it was a valuable gift from Peter. The king was even more impressed and decided that Peter was a man worthy of his daughter, the beautiful princess. Pedro was surprised and in love with the princess. Puss in Boots continued to help Peter impress the king and win the princess's heart. He suggested that Peter build a large castle in a short period of time. The cat knew that there was an ogre who lived nearby, who had a magic castle capable of granting any wish. Puss in Boots went to the ogre's castle and used his cunning to convince the ogre that Peter was a great wizard and that he had the power to transform himself into anything he desired. The ogre, impressed by Peter's supposed skill, agreed to help him build the castle. As the ogre worked on building the castle, Puss in Boots informed Peter of the final plan. He told Pedro to hide the day the castle was ready, as the ogre would surely try to kill him to keep the secret of his magic. The cat assured Peter that everything would be fine and that they would succeed. When the castle was completed, Puss in Boots warned the ogre that the king and princess were coming to see Peter's new castle. The ogre was excited and eager to meet the supposed wizard. While the ogre was distracted, Puss in Boots instructed Peter to hide in a closet. When the king, princess and ogre entered the castle, the ogre asked Puss in Boots where the supposed wizard was. The cat replied, "Oh, noble ogre, the wizard has an amazing ability to transform himself into anything he desires. He is here, but you cannot see him now." The intrigued ogre asked the cat to show an example of this ability. Puss in Boots then said to the ogre, "Look at this bowl of milk. The wizard can turn into a mouse and jump into it." The ogre, curious, agreed. At that moment, Puss in Boots gave a signal to Pedro, who jumped out of the closet and ran towards the door, locking it behind him. While the ogre was trapped in the room, Puss in Boots took the king and princess to see the real Peter, who revealed himself to be a humble but honest and hardworking young man. The king, impressed by his courage and intelligence, gave the blessing for Pedro to marry the princess. So Pedro and the princess got married and lived happily ever after. Puss in Boots, after fulfilling his mission, continued his life as an ordinary cat, being loved and cared for by Pedro and his new family. And so ends the story of Puss in Boots, a tale of cunning, courage and friendship, where an ordinary cat becomes the hero who changes his owner's life forever. Did you like it? Leave your like and your comments suggesting the next story.